What is going on, Trash Talkers? We're back with another episode for you. Today's video, we're going to be talking about the top storylines from each team in the NFC South as we enter training camp. All that and much more coming your way right now. All right, Nick, with training camp only a week away, we have some teams that we need to take a look at, specifically in the NFC South, and some storylines that we are keeping our eyes on. And let's start off with the team that, everybody's been talking about all offseason long, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, your reigning Super Bowl champions. Listen, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did the impossible. They brought everybody back, and they are looking to run it back for another Super Bowl title, another Super Bowl run. And I guess the question remains, can they become even better than they were last year?
It's sad to say that, yeah, I really think that they can be. When you look at this roster, we've talked about, look, they didn't have an offseason last year, and they are all back together now, but the fact that they were getting better throughout last season and now they're going to be in the same system and they don't have to get the chemistries right like they did last year. Nothing's changed. They can just it's more of knocking off the rust than it is really getting into playing shape, because every single player on this roster is an elite athlete. They don't have pretty much any holes on this roster, and so they're all going to be in peak condition. It's all about just making sure that they're working good with Tom on the offense and that everybody on the defense is doing what they need to do. I just think that they have so little to actually improve upon that they can really hone in on their craft. They can really hone in on their chemistry as a team, and they can really work even better as a unit. That's the most defeating thing you can see coming from the opposition. When you look across the field and you see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you know that each one of them is not only an elite athlete and at the top of their game, but they're working with Tom Brady, who's the ultimate precision guy. He's the best at working with the weapons he has, and he's looking better than ever with the elite talent around him. I just think that the Buccaneers are better than ever. They're going to continue to get better each and every week, and I just don't think, as of right now, there's anything that can get in the Buccaneers' way.
Well, I'll say that they're better for this simple fact that they missed their tight end one last year. OJ Howard got hurt for the season. So you get him back to pair with Gronk. And then, Antonio Brown didn't play the full season last year. He came in, week 13, week 14, somewhere around there. I mean, now they have a full season with Antonio Brown offsetting Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I mean, we're talking about just an absolute incredible amount of talent on this football team. So we have seen, rookie Tristan Wirfs, who obviously was just an absolute stud for them. He moves over to the left side of the offensive line, and there's going to be just a ton of just kind of reworking and focusing on what they need to get done. But they've done all the hard work. They've gotten to the top of where they could be, and they're just looking to run it back, which is just a scary thought. But hey, everybody's got to compete every single week, right? So next we move on to the New Orleans Saints, who gave them all sorts of fits last year. And the New Orleans Saints are in a very interesting position because this is the first year that they're without Drew Brees. Drew Brees is newly retired, and at this point, the Saints have to figure out who's going to be their quarterback. So the question for training camp for the Saints will be, who will be coming out victorious as the QB1 for the Saints moving forward? Is it going to be Taysom Hill or is it going to be Jameis Winston? Personally, I think that Jameis Winston is the guy. I think he's a better passer. I think he had an entire year to learn under Drew Brees to focus on not throwing as many interceptions because listen, Jameis Winston is a great quarterback. He has the skill sets to be great. He just needs to focus on not turning the ball over and being a little more protective of the rock because if he can do that, he was already throwing 30, 35 touchdowns a season. He can do that without turning the ball over 30 times. Now we're talking. Now this team can get rolling. The defense can get some rest, and they're going to be winning some games. So I think Jameis Winston has a lot more skill, and I think he's going to end up winning the quarterback job over Taysom Hill.
I also agree that Winston will win the competition because last year we saw Taysom Hill take over as the quarterback when Drew Brees was hurt, and Taysom Hill had already been in that system for years. So he knew the playbook extremely well, and he had taken snaps at the quarterback position before. But when he was the full time starter, that offense went nowhere. They were stagnant. They just didn't move the ball. And that's because Sean Payton doesn't truly trust Taysom Hill to throw the football, so he schemed up a lot of running plays. It's almost like what we saw in New England with Cam Newton. With Jameis Winston, you know that you're getting a guy who can sling the ball. He has the deep arm ability. He's not afraid to throw balls either. And I think that Jameis Winston started to show some progression from his Tampa Bay days last season when he took a couple snaps at quarterback. He was hitting his targets. He was working with the receivers he had. And I think it was actually starting to turn around for Jameis Winston. His career was looking bright for once. I just think that Jameis Winston has a lot more to offer. He's a former first round pick, and Taysom Hill is a guy who's in his 30s. He's not getting any better. He's just not going to produce any better than he did last season. And last season was an absolute mess. I just think there's only one true answer for the New Orleans Saints, and that's to go with Jameis Winston as their starting quarterback.
Moving on from the Saints, we have the Atlanta Falcons up next. And the Atlanta Falcons were in a very rough predicament this offseason as they were in salary cap hell. And you can thank Thomas Dimitroff for that one. But as of right now, the Falcons are working their way out of that. And a lot of that came from the fact that they had to move on from all pro wide receiver Julio Jones, which is well documented, his trade to the Tennessee Titans. Now, with the Atlanta Falcons' new regime coming up, we have Calvin Ridley taking over as the wide receiver one. The question becomes, can Kyle Pitts become that offset to what Julio Jones was? Can he fill the Julio Jones hole that is left on the Atlanta Falcons offense? Can he be that guy that we expect him to be, being drafted number 4 overall? Is Kyle Pitts that guy?
It's a very steep price to pay for a tight end, but with everybody saying Kyle Pitts is a generational talent at the position, he's well worth the risk. And to get him to the point you need him to be at, it's a lot of time he needs to spend with Matt Ryan, getting that chemistry right, learning the playbook, learning how to work next to his fellow receivers and tight ends, working with the offensive line, getting chemistry when he's in blocking situations. He needs to understand the role he's in, and he really needs to take command of the time he has before the season starts because it's a whole different ball game from college football to the pros, and it plays at a much faster pace. He's got to be ready for it, and he's got to do everything in training camp to get there so everybody's not calling him a bust in week 2. I just think Kyle Pitts has a lot of work ahead of him, but I think that he is the real deal. He can take over in that Julio Jones spot. He's really got to work at it, and he'll get there.
Absolutely. Listen, I love Kyle Pitts. I loved him coming out of the draft, and I don't know everything there is about scouting players coming out of college. But if there's one position group that I know, it's the receivers. And when I take a look at what Kyle Pitts can do as a receiver, this man is a generational talent. I'm telling you, this guy reminds me of a mix between like Gronk, Aaron Hernandez without the murder, Darren Waller. I mean, this guy really shows me that he is one of the best that we will ever see. So taking a look at all of that, I believe that he has what it takes. Is it going to be something that Arthur Smith can bring to the Atlanta Falcons from his time in Tennessee? It's a big question mark. I think my question mark is more on Arthur Smith and utilizing Kyle Pitts to the best of his abilities. I think Kyle Pitts is going to be able to do whatever is asked of him, but is he going to be that deep threat through the middle that everybody expects him to be? That is up to Arthur Smith to answer for sure. All right, the final team that we have here for the NFC South is the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers made some splashes this offseason as they made a trade for a brand new quarterback, Sam Darnold, coming down from the New York Jets. Sam Darnold, one of the most highly touted quarterbacks that we had coming into the NFL a couple of years ago. And he's given second life. No more seeing ghosts up at MetLife Stadium. He doesn't have to deal with the boogeyman in New England, and he doesn't have to see the Buffalo Bills. He gets a fresh start, although he does have the Buccaneers in his division. The question becomes, can Sam Darnold make the most of his second opportunity? And personally, I believe that Sam Darnold was just destined for failure when you paired him with Adam Gase. Adam Gase was just an absolute monstrosity at the head coaching position. And you know, anybody who knows me can vouch for the fact that as soon as he was hired to the Jets, I just laughed at every Jets fan, because when you took a look at what he did in Miami as a head coach and you said, that's the guy I want to be my next head coach, Ryan Tannehill looked like he was just a baby gazelle that couldn't find his own footing. He goes to Tennessee and becomes a Pro Bowl quarterback under somebody else. And Adam Gase is supposed to be this quarterback guru? No. Sam Darnold was just absolutely failed from the start, and it's not his fault. There was a lot of organizational issues that were going on with the Jets, and it seems that he needed a change of scenery. He just needed to get out of that system, and now he gets to do it with Matt Rule, who really understands how to utilize a quarterback like Sam Darnold and his skill set. So I believe that at this point, Sam Darnold will be able to make the most of his situation, and the Panthers have put him in a great spot where they fixed the offensive line a little bit. They got him some weapons on the outside, and he's going to be able to flourish really well.
Exactly. They fixed up that offensive line. They got some wide receivers. One, Robbie Anderson, he knows very well. I think this is a perfect spot for Sam Darnold, and Matt Rule's the perfect guy for him. We were talking about Sam Darnold as a Trevor Lawrence type when he was coming out of USC. We were saying he's the most NFL ready. He's super athletic. He makes all the good reads. He can run with the ball. It's just there's nothing that he can't do. But like you said, he was under Adam Gase, and everything was an absolute mess for him. He didn't have an offensive line. He didn't have weapons. The whole team was in shambles, and he had nowhere to look to for guidance, for anything. And so he just started off on the wrong foot and could never fix it. Now he has that opportunity, and Sam Darnold is going to get back to playing that college style of football in Matt Rule's system. He's going to work super well now that he has great weapons, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Christian McCaffrey, and then that offensive line is very strong as well. I think Sam Darnold has a lot to look forward to, and he's definitely going to make the most of his opportunity. I think training camp, we're going to start hearing some really good things out of Carolina.
Absolutely. I'm really excited to see what we have in store for Sam Darnold and the Carolina Panthers. I think they're going to be one of the big surprise teams that we have this season. But listen, Matt Rule has his work cut out for him to undo what Adam Gase did. He has to basically brainwash this young man and get him right as he enters the NFL for the second time, this time with better energy and just a better supporting cast around him. All right. Well, that is everything that we have for the NFC South training camp notes. Let us know what your questions are for these teams. I'd like to hear from you guys as well, so let us know in the comments down below. All right, well, that's going to do it for now. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.